Good day, good people. Good day, good people. Welcome back to another episode of Adult Black Dad. It is me, Marcus Smothers, your host, and I'm just excited to have everybody back again. Remember, if you have not already done it, I'm asking that you please go over to YouTube and subscribe to our channel. Go over to Spotify, subscribe to our podcast. You can even find us on Instagram, Adult Black Dad, just to check out everything that we're doing. And again, as I'm trying to stretch, I started an Instagram account too. I started a TikTok account too. So you can go over there and catch snippets of our episodes, but you can always catch the full episodes of Adult Black Dad streaming on Instagram, YouTube, or Spotify. There we go. So we are back. Last time we were here, we talked about a letter to fathers, where I dedicated that episode to fathers just to show them some appreciation. Myself being a father, I know that there's a lot of ups and downs and a lot of things that we carry on our backs, we carry on our shoulders, we even carry a lot of things in our hearts and our heads, and a lot of times we don't get them out. And even sometimes we don't feel the appreciation for those things. What I've also learned, I love getting that appreciation from another male also. It feels good when you have someone that looks like you, who you identify with, gives you certain type of affirmations and congratulations to give you more encouragement along the way. So that was the whole point of that series, of that episode, is to just give us brothers, give us fathers. You know, it may not even be your biological child that you are helping raise or that you are fathering. Your father capacity could be in the realm of a grandfather. It could be in the realm of a godfather. It could be in the realm of an uncle. It could be in the realm of an uncle. It could be in the realm of a brother. You can be doing all those types of realms from a father standpoint. So I just wanted to take that moment and just congratulate you and give you some encouragement, because the children who we are serving, they remember it. They remember those things. I myself remember a lot of lessons that my dad taught me, and they keep me going. It makes me think about one of the top lessons that my dad taught me over the years was, don't be afraid of people. Because the worst thing somebody can do to you is tell you no. And that helps me when I'm going into hard conversations. That helps me when I might be negotiating something. The worst thing you can do to me is tell me no. So I don't have to fear or walk myself intimidated by other people, because they may not like what I do. They may not choose the route that I go. They may not think it's right. But what else are you going to do to me? It's my choice, my life, for me to live in such a bold way. So, thank you all for your love and your comments from that episode. Your feedback taught me that it told me that you guys wanted to dig into that legacy piece a little bit more. And so I said, okay, let's do it. We're going to spend the next couple of episodes probably just digging into that. What does legacy mean? Because that was the part of it that a lot of gentlemen, a lot of women, just a lot of followers told me, like, hey, that was a dope point that you brought about legacy not always being about money. Let's dig into that topic a little more. So here we are. We're going to jump right into this episode today. I was trying to come up with a creative topic or something like that, but the best thing that came to my mind for this part of it is legacy is not always green. And we're going to let that sit for a moment. Legacy isn't always green. Meaning, as we define or as we talk about leaving a legacy for our children or leaving an inheritance for our children, it's not always in the financial stance that traditional or society may has always taught us that it is, but it can be in several different ways. And those are the things that we're going to talk about. What are some of those other ways that we could leave a legacy or we can leave an inheritance for our children. Because when we talk about it, we only think finance, like I said before, but it could be in the means of your presence. Your presence can be a lasting impression or a lasting legacy that people will always remember. Conversations. These conversations that we have now, I'm not saying they could become law in your life, but they can sometimes trigger things for you later on. It's like, hey, I remember we had that conversation with Marcus. This is great. So these are different types of legacy that people remember, the conversations that you had. Even now, we can probably think of some conversations that we had in our life that left a lasting impression that we still feel. And that could have been a bad impression. It could have been a good impression, but it just tells you that words are very powerful. Remember when we was growing up, we used to say, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words would never hurt me. Man, that is like the biggest lie that we grew up on. Like, that is not true. Yes, sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will hurt my soul. Them words that people have said to us countless of years ago, them things still hurt. I've had countless of stories of people talking about conversations they probably had with a teacher who said something to them, who they would never be something, and that left a lasting impression on them. Actually, it left an impression on them to make them drive out and do more. You had some parents who may have left a lasting impression on you through some words, and it hurt you that you're still having to heal from those things. So words that we say in conversations that we have with people and each other, they do leave an inheritance. They do leave a legacy once we're gone. And another is influence. The influence that I have on individuals play a big role in their life, in their decision making. Because your influence can kind of dictate how others move in their life. Based off of what I may say to you, or based off of what somebody else may say to you, it may make you make a decision that you wouldn't make before you talk to me. So as we're talking about this thing about legacy beyond finances, understand that legacy isn't always green, but your presence, your conversation, and your influence is another form of inheritance that you can leave into others once you're gone. So let's take a quick definition of legacy in a kind of a broader sense. It's simply the long lasting impact that you could have on someone or something. Your legacy can be the long lasting impact or consequence or effect that you have on someone or something. Because once you're gone, and legacy doesn't always mean death. I can have that legacy, or I can have that lasting impact on you just from being around you one time. I have some people who I went to the Black Male Educators Conference up in Philadelphia. I learned so much from those other brothers in there, and they left a legacy impression on me. And I don't know if I ever see them again, but they left an impression or an effect on me. So there are some times when we leave those effects on people, we think about it. It's the old saying, people may not always remember what you do for them, but they will always remember how you made them feel. And I have to take that to myself too. I know I've ran into some people, if we pull certain people out who from my past, not even a long time ago past, they may tell you that I left an impression on them that they they don't like me. And I can't always blame and say, yeah, that's on them. It could just authentically been something that I did. I'm not beyond reproach. I'm not perfect. I'm not interacting with everybody in the same way. I try, but sometimes just mess up on certain stuff. It just is what it is. I don't always rock with everybody the right way, and stuff just happens. So we leave lasting impressions on people, whether we know it or not. And now that person is going to feel a certain type of way about me because of what I did. And I can't judge them for that because, well, shoot, I did it. That's just that. I did it. So I can't flex on them on that. So now as we're talking about this legacy or this inheritance, this lasting impact or this lasting consequence or this lasting effect that we're leaving on people, I'm immediately thinking about my kids. I created this thing because, like I said, from a lens of a dad or a black man, what impressions am I leaving on my kids that goes around with them every day on the life and the decisions that they make? It doesn't have to be because I'm still alive or they're gone or I'm gone. It's in their everyday life. What impressions or what effect is my life, my parenting, my display of a man and how I treat them and how I treat friends or how I treat women? What type of impression or impact is that leaving on them as they go out through and handle everyday life? That's how I have to handle this situation. And that is hard. I'm sorry, I'm not going to start clapping. That is hard. But I think the first thing to counter that is to not think that I have to do everything a certain way every single time. But I do have to be accountable to my kids. So they watch how consistent I am. Do I lie to them? Do I make promises to them that I don't keep and never come back and close the gap? Do I live a life outside the house and then when I come back home, I'm a completely different person? Do I treat their mom a certain way but then expect them to pick dudes that treat them a certain way? All of those types of things. It's what you signed up for when you become a father. It's them unwritten rules or the fine print of the contract when you become a father, when you become a dad. Like, that's now your job. And you're not going to always get recognition for it, but that's now your job because now you have eyes that are watching you. That's my number one audience. Like, I appreciate you all. I appreciate viewers. I appreciate everybody who's sharing this. But my number one audience is my girls. And those people that are closest to me because they are the ones who are going to tell the real story about who I am. They are the ones who can tell the real story about who I am on a day-to-day when the lights and the cameras and I'm not streaming and I'm not doing anything else. They are the ones who go tell the real story. And that's who I have to make sure that they have the real fruits of my labor. And it makes me think about this. We ask each other a lot of times, what are our biggest fears? Personally, my biggest fear is this. I do a lot for other people. I do a lot for other families, for other kids, other students. It is not a toot horn type thing because I never do things for recognition. This is what it is. My biggest fear is that my children hear or meet another person through the other families or other children who I have supported, but they've never met that version of Marcus. Like, I don't want it to be where other people are singing my praise, your dad did this for me. Your dad did that for me. Your dad was always there for me. I knew if I ever needed somebody to talk to, I could talk to your dad or stuff like that. I don't want my kids to hear other people had that experience and they never had that experience from their own father who they lived a life with on a day-to-day basis. Now, again, it doesn't mean that I'm striving to be perfect, but it does mean that I have to make sure that I'm giving to my household with the same tenacity that I'm giving to others. And that's just a real deal domino effect. Like, that was one of the reasons why I left the classroom. It's because I was giving, getting to work early, staying to work late to make sure my students had other things, but I was struggling financially. And I could not financially support my kids and my family the way that they deserve on that salary. So I made a hard professional decision and I ended up leaving the classroom. But if the salary was right, listen, I would be a second grade teacher until it's over. Like, I just love teaching second grade. I feel like that's like the best grade to teach. So that's my biggest fear, is what am I leaving for my children? What lasting impact am I leaving? What will my legacy, or what will be said about me? What will be the effect that I will have on people? Does it mean that I'm striving my life for everybody to like me? No. It just means that I know that I'm doing the best that I can every day with what I got. It's hard, yes. But am I showing up every day? Yes. And that's what's going to really count. Am I showing up? Am I trying, or am I giving the best? Am I trying to have these conversations with my girls? Am I trying to have these conversations that are uncomfortable for me? Am I making my girls feel comfortable to talk to me with the amount of openness that I want them to come talk to me in? And then I got to take that to work, or I got to take that to every day. I can't demand something from other people that I'm not giving. So as we continue to talk about legacy, remember, legacy is not always about money. What we're doing is not always about transferring of money, but it could be transferring your presence. People love your presence. Conversations. Sometimes people love just talking to you. And that is a legacy moment. Sometimes when you go to funerals, you hear people say things like, I used to love just being around them. They didn't have it all, but they always made you feel welcome when they came around you. They always made you feel like you can talk to them, or you can be yourself whenever you was around them. And that's just something that I try to do. I try to create an atmosphere so people can feel comfortable talking about or talking with me. If you've ever been to my house, there's a certain spot on my sofa. I don't know what it is about that spot on my sofa. I guess it's a peace spot on my sofa that anytime someone comes to my house and if they sit on this spot on my sofa, they are going to fall asleep. I don't know what it is. I try to keep my house peaceful, but it's ruckus. But it's something about that spot on the sofa that people fall asleep on when they come over. And I'm okay with that. So we're going to continue to talk about this thing about legacy and what does it look like. Like, one thing I want us to remember, like, as we rethink what it means to leave something behind, one truth that remains clear is that showing up matters more than you think. I'm going to show that one more time. Showing up matters more than you think. In the next episode, we're going to talk about why being present, especially when it gets hard, showing up, especially when it gets hard, is one of the biggest gifts that a father and a man can give. It's easy to stick around when the water is good. But do you have enough umph in you to stick around when it starts to get hard? Hey man, y'all have been good today. I appreciate y'all for sticking with me for this another episode of Adult Black Dad. Remember, legacy isn't always green. You can catch this full episode streaming anytime on our YouTube page. You can go on Spotify and you can find us streaming anytime. Look for me on Instagram, like, support, TikTok. I love you all. Till next time, Dope Black Dad, I'm out.